check out this handmade pen. That's walnut and maple, and my uncle made it. To thank him for sending it, I wanted to make a photograph that I hope would do his craftsmanship justice. I know some are intimidated when it comes to using artificial lighting, whether it's with flash or even with continuous light, but it's really not as hard as it might seem. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to try some different techniques and modifiers. Now you might be tempted to put everything on automatic, fire and forget, or put your camera in manual and your flash on auto TTL, but you will find it's actually easier to get the results that you want putting everything in manual. And I know that might seem counterintuitive to some of you, but I promise you that with a little practice, you'll see that it's actually easier to go all manual. And not just your flash power and camera exposure in manual, but the white balance as well. Dial the aperture down, not to just kill the light, but also get the desired depth of field that you want. And you can use the shutter speed to kill out the remainder of that ambient light. And you really want something that's close to dark, if not completely dark, so that it's the flash that's illuminating your subject. I typically find that for really close-up work like this, I may as well start at the lowest flash power setting and work my way up. It usually ends up being within a stop or two. Now, each of these scenarios are going to be pretty similar, but each of these methods have their own qualities as well. And I find that you are better off moving your light around, kind of probing, discovering what you like about the light and what you don't like about the light. And for each of these, I move them around and see what works and what doesn't work. This is the best result that I got with the direct flash. It's a little harsh. I'm not particularly fond of the highlight on the walnut pen. Okay, next up is the MagMod, and I like this much better than the direct flash. It's acceptable. I wish I had a highlight there at the tip of the pen, but it's okay. Not too crazy about the bright spot on the wooden surface, but I think I was just limited by the size of the sphere itself. This was the first modifier that I picked up for my speed lights. This is LumaQuest Softbox 3. Probably not available anymore, but there are similar products available. Okay, now this is the shot with the small softbox, and you'll notice that I was able to get a little bit of a highlight on the tip of the pen, still retain some highlights toward the top of the pens. As far as liking this better than the MagMod, it's maybe slightly, and it's really mainly because I was able to get that little tiny bit of highlight on the tip of that pen in the foreground. Now, this is another small light modifier I've picked up over the years. It's the Fstoppers Light Disc, and it comes in this small case that folds right up and it pops out. And the flash inserts here, and it has quite a bit of surface area. I'll hold it up to my head for comparison's sake. It has much more surface area to soften the light than these other two. We'll see how it works in practice. Okay, this is using the flash disc, and I think it's a big improvement over the previous modifiers. I get the highlights on the metal parts of the pins without the glare on the wooden surface. Now, this next light modifier doesn't cost you a thing, and it does a remarkably good job. It's just a mailer. It's white, translucent, and I insert the flash in here, and it has all the surface area to spread, and it does a pretty remarkable job. At a glance, you might not notice the difference between it and the light disc we just saw, but if you look at them closely, one after another, you'll see that the highlights are much more pronounced on the metal parts using the mailer. And the lighting on the wooden surface is just maybe a little bit more even. So overall, I prefer this over any of the others so far. My final and favorite method is actually using a white paper bag. Again, this is something I essentially pulled from the trash. You'll see that it helped me get highlights on those metal parts even more than the others, and it still has a very soft, even look. It feels so natural when I look at this. Okay, let's run through these again. Here's the direct flash, the MagMod MagSphere, the small softbox, the flash disc, the mailer, and here's the white paper bag, which is by far my favorite. Hopefully one of those images does my uncle's work on these pens justice, and I hope that it was helpful for you. If you have any tips or suggestions, please let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.